covering the community, the people, events, and issues of Georgia, Carolina. This is the Means Report. Now, from the studios of WJBF News Channel 6 in Television Park in downtown Augusta, here's Brad Means.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Means Report. Hope your holiday season is off to a wonderful start. Hope your Thanksgiving went well. We appreciate you joining us and spending part of your busy Sunday with us. We know it's a hectic time of year, but we want you to take time to pause. Remember the reason for the season. Remember yourself as well as you make your plans for the rest of this month and into 2011 and beyond. And with that in mind, that's the subject of the first half of the Means Report, trying to get you ready for the new year so that you can be the best possible. You can realize your full potential. We've brought in a life coach today. Her name is Dr. Lynda Sims. She's the person in charge of New Wave Life Coaching. New Wave Life Coaching is an organization here in town. We'll tell you how to get in touch with the folks at New Wave. We'll tell you how to have a free consultation to maybe find out the direction you should be headed in life. And I want to welcome Dr. Sims now to the Means Report. Thank you for coming in. I know it's a busy time for you as well, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
What's a life coach?
A life coach is sort of your own personal cheerleader. It's someone who can help you get from where you are to where you want to be.
You know what? I think a lot of people have these visions of where they want to be, but they do not know how to get there. Do you find with your encounters with people that you're sitting there thinking, okay, they've got the potential, they just don't know how to take that first step?
That's exactly it.
Why? What is it, fear?
Fear or just not knowing. And I don't know the steps to take. And the life coach helps you develop a strategy for reaching your goals, a step at a time, and holds you accountable for that.
All right, I want to talk about your strategy and how people can take that road in just a moment. But first, give me some background. Your background is heavily in the ministry.
It is, yes.
Religious, chaplain.
Right.
These are things that come to mind when we think of Reverend Dr. Lynda Sims.
Right.
How'd you switch from that to life coaching, or is it really a switch?
It is a little bit of a switch, but not too much, because I started reading about life coaching and realized this is what I've been doing for 35 years. Someone just gave a name to it, and realized that this life coaching represents my whole approach to helping people, because it's results oriented, it's very client driven, and I'm just having a blast doing it full time now.
Well, you know, we're happy to have you here in the month of December because it's a time when a lot of us start thinking about our New Year's resolutions.
Right.
But a lot of times those are empty promises that expire within probably the first quarter. Talk about resolutions in general. Do you think it's good that we try to set a goal for ourselves like a resolution?
I do. I think everyone needs a time of a fresh start. And there are times when, and the new year is a natural time when we say, okay, it's time for a change. This is what I'm going to do. And yeah, I've had New Year's resolutions that I blew by day 3.
Yeah, me too.
You know, forget the first quarter. It was over before it started.
Me too.
And so the key, though, is what we typically do is somewhere in December we decide, okay, after the first of the year, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to read more, pray more, spend more time with my family, whatever it is. And we just stop there, and then January 1st comes, and oh, I have to do this now. The key, Brad, is to make a plan and start now, making a plan. How am I going to accomplish this? Get a strategy, map it out. Get an accountability partner, such as a life coach, or if you have a good buddy who will check up on you and make sure that you're on track with those goals. All these things help and keep us on track.
You know, why is it that we can't be accountable to ourselves? I agree 100% with what you're saying, because it's when we have to answer to somebody else that there's the fear of letting them down.
Right.
Is that just human nature, that you're scared of offending your fellow human?
Sure. Or you don't want to appear to be a failure in their eyes. You know.
Do you incorporate your religious beliefs, Christianity, into your program? If so, how might that be a motivator to help out?
Sure. There are many times when a person's spirituality comes into play and is definitely a part of the issues that they're dealing with. There's times when it's not. If it is, we deal with it. If it's not, we're not there to push anything on anyone or bring that up when it's not appropriate. But we are definitely a Christian practice, and we let that be known.
Let's talk about somebody with a life coaching need. What would be a typical client? What would be someone who you would see come in? Tell me about an issue or issues they would have, and just generally what your approach might be, and then hopefully what the result could be.
It's very difficult. We've only been open since March, and I have had a very difficult time deciding what a typical client is, or being able to map that out, because we've had people from age 11 to age 70. We've had men, women, married, unmarried, black, white, all kinds of social structures. It's across the board.
If you take somebody, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, that's
take
okay.
Somebody who says, I'm not happy in my job. A lot of people in today's economy, if they're lucky enough to have a job, have it for the paycheck.
Yes.
Not because it's what they're meant to do.
That's right.
What if they want to better themselves and be where they're supposed to be in life? How in the world do you figure that out?
One of the things we do is we take a look at what their passions are. What do you really want to do? If all bets were off, you could do anything in the world you wanted to do, what would it be? What do you really love? And we look at that and we help people really go for and develop a strategy and achieve their goals for what is fulfilling and meaningful to them.
Do you think that this is a process that takes a long time in a lot of people, or is it something that can be resolved quickly?
It depends on the individual and on just where they're at in their lives, how much thought they've given to this prior to coming into the coaching process. But generally it doesn't take as long as you think. Usually if you can get in touch with when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? A lot of times we're more in touch with our core selves and who we really are when we're children. And sometimes people go back to that and say, you know, I always wanted to be a fireman or whatever, you know. And if you can get in touch with, well, why did you want to do that? And how can you incorporate some of that into your life now? People can end up in places that are much more fulfilling and meaningful to them.
How has your experience in the ministry helped you prepare for what you're doing now? You said at the beginning of our interview that you've really been life coaching for a long time.
I have, yes.
Before you opened New Wave.
Yeah.
What is it about that interaction with the person on the other side of your desk that made you realize, I am coaching these folks? When did that light come on?
Well, when I started reading about life coaching, I had never even heard of it before, and it's really a new concept for our area. And I started reading and hearing about it and investigating it and realized this is my whole philosophy. I never fit even though I have been a pastor, I have been on church staffs, I've done that style of counseling or whatever, I never fit the mold for that. And my approach is to encourage people. I believe that the answers are inside of each one of us. You know, you have the answers for the questions and the issues that you're dealing with, but sometimes there's so much junk just covering that up. Together we can clear that out and you can discover who you really are, what you're meant to do, and develop a way for being able to do that.
What if you fail? What if the person wants a better job and 6 months, a year later, they don't have one? They may have changed in other ways, but their ultimate goal hasn't been reached. How do you keep them on a positive track and keep them from giving up?
Well, it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet. There's perfect timing for things. Everything comes at the right time with the right people. The key for the coach is to help that person position themselves so that they are in the right place to receive what is ready to come to them.
What did the 11-year-old boy or 11-year-old child, what was their issue?
She had lost her father to cancer, and he died very young. And we dealt with some bereavement issues and her grief process and how that had affected her for a little while in school and with friends. And she was in the process of actually working through all of that.
Do you ever reach out to family members or friends to try to help the individual succeed?
My family members or
no,
friends?
No, their family members.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody comes to you for life coaching, might you say, you know what, okay, you can do this, but I'm going to need your dad, I'm going to need your, co-workers, that kind of thing?
Sure, with the client's permission.
Sure.
If they don't want them a part of the process, then they're not going to be. But if they're open to that, then certainly employ your support system any way you can.
How did life coaching become? How did it get on the scene? You're right. It is something that's recent, relatively speaking. It hasn't been around forever, but it has something in recent years that we've seen pop up. Why? Why is it becoming so popular? Is it because just the times we live in, people are hopeless and they're looking for hope? What is it?
I believe that's a lot of it, yes. Life coaching really evolved out of business coaching. In the 70s, there were a lot of business coaches who would work with executives to help them achieve their professional and business goals. And soon that began to bleed over into, well, if I'm going to do this, what about the effect this is going to have on my family and my social life? So the business coach evolved into a life coach that covered every area of life. Now, you know, it's not just business executives or celebrities who have life coaches. It's anyone can have a life coach, and my heart has been to make that available to anyone who just needs somebody to talk to. Many times we're divorced from extended families that are living someplace else. There's bad relationships between parents and children or between husbands and wives. And sometimes even if you have good relationships and good people around to help you, you still need an objective person outside of the situation that you can talk to.
That's a good point. If you can change yourself, it's not just getting that dream job or quitting that bad habit that you achieve. Probably has an effect on every single person who comes in contact with you too, because that positive result for you trickles down to them.
That's right.
What about the, did you ever get somebody who is resistant to change, even though they come to you? Once you lay it out,
yes,
and once you make them look at themselves, they say, oh boy, I didn't know the order was going to be this tall. Talk about that and getting them to overcome that.
Well, that's why we do a free consultation. People can come in, they can talk with a life coach free of charge for an hour. You can discuss what your issues are. You can find out what the coaching process is, how it works, and we tell people up front, you have to be committed to this process. We give homework in between sessions, and there are things that you need to be accountable to walk through and to do in order to make those changes. Now, sometimes people are trying really hard, but they come up against an internal obstacle that prevents them from moving forward. And we stop and we deal with that. That may be something that happened in their past that they need to stop and deal with because it's an obstacle that's preventing them from making the progress in their lives that they want to. So we can stop and deal with that, but it's with a view to overcoming it and continuing to move forward.
Does it ever get to a point, or do you foresee it getting to a point where something's too much for you, where you have to say, you know what, go to this professional to fix
Yes.
this, and then I'll help you with that?
Absolutely. We work with counselors and psychiatrists and refer to those when it's beyond the scope of what a coach would do. Yeah.
Is it expensive? You don't have to give me your prices, but if anybody's watching and they're thinking about life coaching, is it something that they can afford probably?
I hope so. Our heart is to make it affordable. And when I started to open the business, I did a lot of research on what a life coach charges, because honestly, I just didn't know. And I found on the internet $295 for a 30-minute phone conversation.
Wow.
And I thought, this is ridiculous. No, who can afford that? So we let individuals design their own plan. We have discounts that are available, and the price is going to be different for each person. One of the things we do at the free consultation is we figure out what would your cost be if you did things this way. It's generally going to fall in a window between $50 and $90 for an hour session. And
then the homework, talk about some of the things that you make them do when they leave your office or ask them to do.
Sometimes it's thinking about a particular question and writing down the answer. They bring that back, they bring back the piece of paper, and we talk about that. Sometimes it's make this phone call, go see this person, have a conversation with this person in your life about this issue. It could be anything. It might be changing your self-talk and working on that, working on how you view yourself and your self-image. It could be anything that's going to take them a step closer to reaching whatever their ultimate goal is.
Speaking as a member of the clergy, you think Americans are as into church as they need to be? I know that at our church we are constantly trying to seek out new missions in the community to reach the unchurched. You've been in that field a long time. Do you think people are slipping away from church, or maybe they have and they're coming back? What do you see?
It's depending on the age group that you're talking about, because really it's been a little bit of both. people are disillusioned with church in general, and yet they're still seeking spirituality.
Right.
They're seeking after God. They're seeking after things that would be meaningful and give them a sense of faith and empowerment in their lives. So people may be disillusioned with institutional religion, but they still are wanting a relationship with God.
Right.
And to the degree that churches, I believe, are successful at connecting people with God and focusing on that, developing that relationship, to that degree they're going to be successful churches that pull people in and gain membership and grow.
And again, you'll bring Christianity into the equation through life coaching when you feel that it's necessary.
Absolutely.
Do a lot of people, perhaps who are unchurched or underchurched, latch onto that and all of a sudden leave your office not only with better life skills, but with a better walk with God?
Yes. I had one client who grew up in church but had not gone as an adult, had really gotten away from any sense of spirituality. And by the time we were through, he was really reconnected, going to Bible studies. His prayer life was working again, and he just really was able to reconnect with God, and it changed a lot of the issues that he was struggling with.
You know, you spend so much of your time cheerleading and coaching and encouraging others, but what do you get out of it? What's it do when at the end of the day you realize you've helped and that you've changed people? Oh,
when I see a change in just one person, it makes it all worth it.
I bet it does.
That's great.
What a rewarding.
I have the greatest job in the world.
You do. The rewards are out there. And if people want to take advantage of them, I want you to tell us how to get in touch with New Wave and what people need to do to take that first step.
Okay.
What should we do?
Well, we are located in La Pavilion Shopping Center, which is right on the corner of Washington Road and Pleasant Home Road. There's a big sign there, New Wave Life Coaching. It's the shopping center where Cadillacs is and Dippin' Dots.
Yes.
Everybody knows where Dippin' Dots is.
You said La Pavilion, and I'm like Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots, that's
You're
right.
in the Dippin' Dots Pavilion.
That's it. We're right there, close to them. And just if you'll just call our office. We'll make an appointment for you for a free consultation. The phone number is 706-513-3683. And just call, and my assistant Nell will schedule you for your free consultation. And you'll be able to come in and find out more about the process, find out what your cost would be, and then make a decision if it's something you want to pursue.
Well, we appreciate it very much. 706-513-3683. We're going to put that on the Means Report Facebook page, so if you're a fan, check it out. If you're not, like us, and once you like us, then you'll be able to check that number out. The Reverend Dr. Lynda Sims, New Wave Life Coaching.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Our pleasure. We appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to talk about the weather situation. You know, we have our chief meteorologist, George Myers, in here periodically. Well, hurricane season has just ended. Where was it? Did it even happen? George will break it down and tell us what to expect in the new year weather-wise. We love that topic on the Means Report.